Labour law in India, Indian Factory Act 1948 or Indian Labour Act, also called the Law of Labour, confers rights of labour and regulates the conditions of employment. Typically, labour laws are laws relating to employer-employee, company staff. They guarantee certain legal rights to workers. In addition, they aim to promote the interests of workers. The Indian Factory Act is classified into two major categories. The first category includes laws defining the relationship between trade unions, employees and companies. The second category includes laws that provide for the rights of employees at the workplace provision. Labor Acts improve working conditions, wages, working hours, designed to meet workers' demands for the protection of labor rights and settlement of industrial disputes. Indian laws on labor rights and workplaces. Ministry of Labor and Employment, Ministry of Labor and Employment regulated by. The major Indian laws relating to workers and employment rights are Industrial Disputes Act, 1947 Payment of Bonus Act, 1965 Payment of Wages Act, 1936 Child Labor, Prohibition and Regulation Act, 1986 Trade Union Act, 1926 Maternity Benefit Act, 1961 Factory Act, 1948 Equal Remuneration Act, 1976 Employee State Insurance Act, 1948. Indian Factory Act 1948 about safety. 1. Properly of machinery in each factory. Fencing should be. Section 21. 2. Only trained adult male workers should be allowed to work near moving machinery, dressed in tight fittings. Section 22. 3. No young person, young worker, will be employed on dangerous machinery, unless he is fully instructed about the hazards arising in relation to the machine. Necessary precautions should be taken and the company should ensure that such employee has received adequate training to work on the machine. Section 23. 4. Appropriate arrangements should be made to provide power shutdown equipment in emergencies. Section 24. 5. Adequate precautions should be taken in relation to self-acting machines to avoid accidents. Section 25. 6. To prevent danger, all electrical powered machinery must be shut down and protected effectively. Section 26. 7. Women workers and children should not be employed in any part of the cotton press factory in which the cotton opener is working. Section 27. 8. Hoist and lift in a factory must be periodically inspected by a competent person. Inspection. Section 28. 9. Lifting machines, chains, rope and lifting tackles in a factory must be periodically inspected by a competent person. Section 29. 10. Where the wear process goes, a notice indicating the maximum safe working and rotation speed of each grindstone or abrasive wheel etc. should be placed on the machinery moving there. Notice board. Section 30. 11. Where a plant or machinery or any part thereof operates under atmospheric pressure above atmospheric pressure, it should be ensured that the pressure of such plant or machinery does not exceed the safe working pressure. Section 31. 12. Floors, steps and means of access must be well built and properly maintained. Section 32. 13. Gaps that open in pits, floors, etc. must either be covered safely or fenced. Section 33. 14. No worker in any factory shall be employed to carry such heavy load that he is likely to be hurt. Section 34. 15. Protective equipment required to protect the working eye, should be provided where working poses a risk of eye injury. Section 35. 16. Appropriate precautionary arrangements should be made against hazardous fumes, gases, etc. Section 36. 17. All practical measures should be taken to prevent any explosion, where dust, gas, smoke or vapor etc. are produced in the construction process. Section 37. 18. Every possible measure should be taken to prevent the outbreak of fire and its internal and external spills. Section 38. 19. The factory inspector may ask the factory manager to submit any building, machinery or plant drawings, specification, etc. if he feels that human life from such building, machinery or plant conditions the danger it is possible. Section 39(20). Inspector of factories, inspector, manager, when he feels that human life is likely to be threatened by the condition of a building, machinery or plant, supervisor may suggest appropriate measures for steps to be taken to. Section 40(21). Where 1,000 or more workers are employed in a factory, the manager is required to take care of the safety aspects of the factory. Safety officer should be appointed. Section 40(b). Indian Factory Act 1948 about health. 1. Each factory should be kept clean and free from any drain, defecation or other nuisance resulting from deodorant. Section 11. 2. Effective arrangements should be made for the treatment and disposal of wastes and effluents generated due to the manufacturing process occurring in each factory, so that they can be made non-harmful. Section 12. 3. Effective and appropriate provision for adequate ventilation by circulation of fresh air, and each factory must have a suitable temperature to be maintained to secure and maintain each workroom. Proper resting conditions and workers should be protected from injury. Section 13. 4. Effective measures should be taken to prevent dust and smoke generated during the manufacturing process, construction, from going in with breath. Section 14. 5. In any factory where air humidity is artificially increased, the state government, humidification may make rules setting standards of humidification, regulating methods used for artificially increasing humidity in air, and instructing to properly perform and enter the prescribed test to determine air humidity, and the methods to be adopted to ensure adequate ventilation and cooling of air in workplaces should be determined. Section 15. 6. No room in any factory should be so crowded that the workers employed in it are harmful to the health. Section 16. 7. Adequate and appropriate lighting, illumination, should be arranged and maintained in each part of a factory where workers are working or passing through. Section 17. 8. Adequate and easily accessible supply of healthier and pure drinking water should be maintained in factories. Section 18. 9. Adequate toilets of the prescribed type, toilet, and urinals, urinary, should be provided in each factory that are conveniently located for workers and separate for male and female workers should be different. Section 19. 10. A sufficient number of peak donations should be made available at convenient locations in each factory and kept in a clean condition. Section 20. About welfare. Indian Factory Act 1948. 1. Adequate and appropriate washing facilities should be provided in each factory. Section 42. 2. Provision should be made to keep clothes that are not worn during working hours and to provide suitable space for drying wet clothes. Section 43. 3. In each factory, suitable seating should be arranged for all workers obliged to stand and work, so that they can take advantage of any opportunity for rest they get during their work. Section 44. 4. For every 150 workers, at least one box, first aid box, should be manned by providing a first aid box with prescribed material during all working hours. Section 45. 5. In every factory where more than 500 workers are employed, an ambulance room of the prescribed size should be provided, in which such medical and nursing staff are in charge and have prescribed equipment. Section 45. 4. 6. In the factory where more than 250 workers are employed, the manager should arrange a canteen for the use of workers. Section 46. 7. In each factory where more than 150 workers are employed, an adequate and suitable shelter or restroom, and a suitable dining room with drinking water system, where workers can eat lunch or tiffin. Section 47. 8. In each factory where more than 30 women workers, female workers, are normally employed, there should be a provision for maintaining a suitable room for the use of such women under 6 years of age, Section 48. 9. In each factory where 500 or more workers are employed, the factory owner should employ as many welfare officers as possible, Section 49. Indian Factory Act 1948 about working hours. 1. Generally, no employee should be allowed to work in the factory for more than 48 hours in any given week, Section 51. 2. Workers should get a day off, weekly off, a week, where he was asked to work on a scheduled weekly holiday. He should be given leave in lieu of that day within 3 days of the scheduled weekly holiday, Section 52. 3. After receiving approval from the factory inspector, the worker shall, within the month during which compensatory holidays are payable, or within 2 months immediately after that month, he should be allowed to take advantage of unsuitable compensatory holidays, Section 53. 4. Subject to the provisions of Section 51, no employee should be allowed to work more than 9 hours in a day, Section 54. 5. The working hours should be determined such that no employee has to work more than 5 consecutive hours, and he should be allowed intervals for at least half an hour of rest during his work in a day, Section 55. 6. The working period should be organized in such a way that, manage, is combined with its rest interval under Section 55. Working hours on any day should not exceed 10.5 hours, Section 56. Indian Factory Act 1948 about companies' duties. 1. Every company i.e. employer should ensure, as far as relevant, the health, safety and welfare of all workers. Health, safety and welfare should ensure when they are working in the factory. 2. Cases where such duty is extended include, without adversely affecting the generality of the provisions of Section 1. Provision and maintenance of machine and work systems in the factory which should be safe and without risk to health. Safety for health in relation to the use, maintenance, storage and transportation of goods and substances and risk. It is necessary to have arrangements in the factory to ensure the absence of. There should be provision of necessary information, instruction, training and supervision to ensure the health and safety of all workers at work. Maintenance of all factory working locations in a condition that is safe and risks to health, risk, is devoid of, and the provision and maintenance of such means of reaching and exiting places which are safe and should be heard without such risks. Provision, maintenance or monitoring of such work environment in the factory for workers which is safe and hazard be free from, without risk to health, and have adequate facilities and systems for their welfare at the workplace. 3. Health and safety of employees in the workplace and organization to the company, health and a written statement of their general policy regarding safety, and arrangements for the time to implement that policy, and the description and any amendments thereof to all workers are included in the company's responsibility. Section 7A.